Hello, everybody. Welcome along. This is the Benjamin Bloom Show. We are going all in on Manchester United versus Sheffield United today. Pre-match preview right now. Half time, I will be back reviewing the first half and getting your predictions for the second. And then at full time, I have just witnessed the full match review. Make yourself known by either saying hello in the comments or hitting that thumbs up button. Helps more people find this stream. Who would have thought that we would be talking about Manchester United and Sheffield United in the same breath? But there is a fair amount riding on this game. Remember, with the Manchester City situation and possible expulsion from next year's Champions League, a fifth place finish may put you in the Champions League, and that is still entirely plausible for Sheffield United and indeed Manchester United. Since coming back from the lockdown, we've had Manchester United drawing at Spurs. It's not been great for Sheffield United. 0-0 at Villa. Remember that crazy goal and the goal line technology not working in the slightest. And then that heavy defeat at Newcastle for Sheffield United. So they don't come into this in vintage form when you consider the massively high standards set by Chris Wilder. Let's just bring up, if you'll excuse me, the table. And you can see there in 7th position, Sheffield United, 44 points, 8 games to go. A victory tonight, although Wolves are playing, so that could affect things. A victory tonight would catapult Sheffield United up above, excuse me, Manchester United into that 5th place potential Champions League spot. UEFA and FFP and Man City all pending. Manchester United, that is, obviously can stretch themselves out and close that gap up to Chelsea with a victory. So a lot riding on this, and I'm sure Blades fans would admit just to even be there in this position is absolutely fantastic. We'll look at the teams in a second. We will give a hello to Alex there, a shout out. John says Millwall West Ham next season. There we go. Nick, Sheffield United, come on. We have a lot of Blades hung over from last season's championship coverage here. Paul, come on, Blades. How we put in a good performance after the bad start we had. 2-1 to Blades. Defend most of the game. Hit them on the break. Rob says few changes for Blades tonight. Let us have a look at these two teams and see if we can get a little bit of a read on what we think will happen. I just need to get rid of that and we can all see everything. So let's start with Manchester United. Info goal, as you can see, have it down as a 4-2-3-1. And the big headline I kept seeing on Twitter was Pogba and Fernandes playing together for the first time, I believe. So De Gea in goal. Lots of criticism from Roy Keane, whether that means anything or not, but certainly at fault for that Spurs goal. He starts in goal. Shaw, the left back, Wan-Bissaka, the right back. Remember, Sheffield United always looking for overloads down those sides. Important positions there when you are playing against the Chris Wilder team here. Lindelof and Maguire. Also, Maguire questioned by Roy Keane and others after that Tottenham game, makes up the back four. The two sitters, Matic will be your archetypal sit in the front of the back four guy. And Pogba, is he a deep laying playmaker? Is he a box-to-box guy? Is he a number 10? He's potentially a little bit of everything. So we'll see where Pogba goes. One would expect Mata to sit and allow Pogba some license. Up ahead of him, off to the left, humanitarian and school dinners champion Marcus Rashford off to the left will be cutting in, though Mason Greenwood down the right-hand side. So United youngsters and youth players coming through their ranks in those positions there. And Bruno Fernandes, who'd been a big improvement in the 10 position. Anthony Martial up top. So plenty of pace, plenty of movement on paper. A nice looking Manchester United 11 there. Get your thoughts in in the comments on that side. Chris Wilder ringing the changes as well. He never is one to suffer a duff performance, is he? So although their first change we're going to talk about is enforced because Simon Moore is going to play in goal. And if you remember the previous game, that crazy 3-3 draw, Dean Henderson, obviously on loan from Manchester United, he is obviously blocked from playing in this game. So Moore will come in. Very interesting looking Blades back three there. We expect Egan, O'Connell and Basham to be the Blades back three, always under Chris Wilder, as sure as night follows day. But no, Egan, I believe he's suspended, isn't he? O'Connell still not around. So you have Jack Robinson in that linchpin position, possibly, strangely, the least important position of the three there, because that's the one player that holds no complicated tactical work like the other two wider centre-halves have to do. Basham can do this with his eyes closed now, but Phil Jagielka in the outside centre-half position. Well, we'll see how they line up there, see if Infogold have got that right. Has he got the legs to go forward? Probably not. Let's see how he goes, and he'll be up against Marcus Rashford in that area as well. Interesting. The wing-backs, as ever, Ender Stevens and George Baldock. I think it was a mistake from Stevens against Newcastle as well. John Fleck returns. He did not play in the last Blades game I watched against Villa, and yes, they missed him. He balances that midfield up beautifully. The team I watched get promoted last year was always Norwood, Fleck, and a number 10. Obviously, we have a number 6 or a number 8 in Lundstrom. So no Sander Berger or Berge, or however one pronounces that. Let's see if that gets balanced up nicer with Fleck. Also, the last game I watched was Billy Sharp and Ollie McBurney starting up front. We have ex of Ipswich fame Dave McGoldrick and Lise Mousset up the top. So hopefully you get a bit of craft and a bit of invention from McGoldrick and an ability to hold the ball, whereas Mousset will probably be the runner in behind. You would suggest, in terms of what both clubs have available to them, that Manchester United, that is, probably closer to their strongest 11, given there's no Jack O'Connell or John Egan there in the Blaze team, or, in fact, Dean Henderson at the back. Obviously, there is a veritable chasm between the two clubs. Manchester United, the great Manchester United with all their history. Sheffield United, 6 years in League One until very recently. So those are your two teams. Let's have a little look at some of the comments, and we will take any questions you've got. Where are we going? Nick, McGoldrick, score a brace. There you go. There's an Ipswich fan speaking. Andrew says, come on, Man United, stuff the blunts like Newcastle. Up the mighty Owls. It appears we have some Sheffield Wednesday fans in the chat. Paul obviously responds to that. Alex, Daniel Rashford to score first. I think he's quoting our lovely Secretary of State, Mr. Hancock, who, look, I'll give him a pass on that. Anyone can get someone's name wrong. But yeah, when they've been so popular in a campaign to help the government out, then probably best not to. But there you go. Owen says 3-1 United. He's hedging his bets there, as he's saying Manchester United. Or Sheffield United. Andrew says Rashford to smash your defence all over. Quite the player, Rashford. And if he is up against Phil Jagielka, that might not end well for Sheffield United. We'll see. Remember, Chris Wilder's teams is always the sum of the parts, never mind one-on-one details. So Paul says values in squads is unreal. Yeah, it's insane, isn't it, when you get a team that has been in the Championship and League One against a team boasting a 90 million quid central midfielder and a 50 million quid number 10 and 80 million pound centre half. Absolutely incredible stuff. This is what it's come to. Jim says, come on, Man United, keep the Blades out of Europe. Hey, it's not just out of Europe, it's out of the Champions League, let alone they can still qualify for Europe. Absolutely. Goodness me, we've got a lot of owls in the chat here. Let's respond. Let's add some balance by Paul saying up the Blades. Jim's going to give them some grudging credit there to say, to be honest, it's not an enjoyable thing, really. Patrick says that lineup is definitely not right, Blades-wise. Without a couple, they should, provided they're not hemmed in for vast periods of the game, have enough around the pitch. If you think about it, it's just those three guys. And I have to say, Jack Robinson played all right against Villa, didn't he? And a goalkeeper's a goalkeeper. As long as they save the shots they're supposed to save and don't do anything ridiculous, they'll be okay. Jagielka, I don't know whether Chris Wilder had signed him to play away at Man United. So, we'll see how that one pans out. Patrick says Lundstrom and Fleck on the wrong side. Jags will play centre mid. My God, we'll be interested to see that. Infogol will always have people the wrong sides, don't they? They're just nice and easy to pull up. Central defence, he means. Yes, absolutely. That's what I was suggesting. And Robinson over to his left. That would fill me with a lot less dread if it was Robinson against Rashford. But remember, it is still Rashford, for goodness sake. Scott is not confident from a Blaze point of view. He says 5-0 Manchester United. Evil Adam McGoldrick to finally bag, after all that training at Ipswich under Big Mick, a Premier League goal may come from McGoldrick. We'll see. He's got his start. Got to steer clear of injury first, hasn't he? Jalemi B says, I agree with Owen. 3-1. Oh, 3-1 Sheffield United, he's saying. And Jim finally contests. Wilder is a great manager, to be fair. We had him at my hometown side, Northampton. He is absolutely. So that is the two sides where we're looking in the table. We've had a few predictions here. Andrew says, come on, Benjamin. We all know Sheffield United are overachieved and are due a serious fall down to earth. We'll see. We'll see how it pans out. Let's hope they don't tank the last games of this season after doing so well. Right, I'm going to be back at half-time. Please come and join me for the half-time stream and get your thoughts in there. Just quickly, you can support the channel by using Super Chat on YouTube. You can subscribe on Patreon. And as of today, all my videos here will be available as a podcast. So if you miss one, just subscribe. It'll come down your podcast feed and you can listen a day removed. Particularly good for the news ones or the match reviews. Had a lot of requests to look at that. Let's get a couple more before we go. They're still on break here on Sky Sports. Barry says, hopefully Manchester United have their standard bad start and Sheffield United can nick a point, or maybe all three. Going to be an interesting one. Who would have thought that Blades and Manchester United would be in anywhere near the same proximity as the table at this time of the season? Let me know what you think in the comments, as ever, if you're watching on delay. I will be back at half-time, so I'll pop the stream up in a minute. You can jump on that and you'll be alerted as soon as we go live. But pretty much just after that whistle goes, we will be live at half-time. Thank you, everybody, for watching. See you at half-time, and do also come back again at the end of the game. We are covering Sheffield United's visit to Manchester United, the chase for the Champions League. Thank you for watching. Over and out.